All right. So the recording has begun now. So thank you everyone for being here tonight. And we have Jacqueline Ledermann here to talk, and I will hand it over to her. So feel free, come on up.
I will in 1 second.
Of course.
Here.
Of course. Absolutely. Yeah,
Okay. Oh, I can't do that without.
I know. It's,
Yeah, okay, this is good.
do you want to, Jacqueline, go here so they can see you both on Zoom
sure.
and in person?
I was trying to stay off recording, but
I
sure.
know. I saw what you were doing, but.
All right. Hi, everybody. It's so nice to be here. Thank you so much, Christina, for having us. My name is Jacqueline Ledermann, and I work in the Center for International Education and Global Strategy, better known as the Study Abroad Office. And part of my role here at the university is managing external grants, fellowships, and scholarships for UAlbany students and pertaining to the Fulbright alum as well. I teach in the Honors College here, and I also teach globalization studies for the Department of Geography. I used to work for the UN in the Department of Political Affairs, Department of Public Information, and a variety of like nonprofits and NGOs, et cetera. My background is in political science and international law and diplomacy, and I wear a lot of hats. Like Annette will talk about all sorts of amazing programs that she has as well, and we both wear tons of hats when it comes to working with students. I think managing grants such as the Fulbright grant is really wonderful because I get to work with students one-on-one to talk about their interests, potentially what they want to do long term, or maybe they just want to gain some international experience, international exposure. Maybe you haven't had that yet, or it's something kind of on the timeline or that you may be interested in doing. If you are a junior currently or a senior, the upcoming application for Fulbright opens March 31st, and you are eligible to apply. The only prerequisites for a Fulbright grant, as it is a State Department program, State Department funding, is you have to be a US citizen and you have to have a bachelor's degree by the time the grant commences. So I have to give some of those background kind of like administrative points because it can be a little confusing. It works a little bit ahead of what we think is normal or natural. It is for the AY 27-28 academic year, so AY 27. So if you're graduated before fall 27, you are eligible to apply for the next cycle of Fulbright, if that makes sense. I hope it does. I work with students all the time that are kind of like, well, I don't know, I'm considered this, but I have this many credits. So it really is based on kind of when you're going to get your degree. So what is Fulbright? Has anyone ever heard of the US Fulbright program through the State Department? Oh, good. So everyone will learn something about this today. And I don't want to take up too much time because Annette has a bunch of really important things to talk with you about as well. But the Fulbright grant is a funded grant to go abroad for an academic year to either teach English in a classroom, it's called an ETA, an English Teaching Assistantship, perform study research, which is an open study research award, or you can apply for a funded master's degree, which is very attractive to students, especially, doing a master's degree abroad can be very attractive as well. Fulbright is a nationally competitive scholarship, but we here at the university, my students, my advisees, Annette's advisees, are getting these awards because we're great students, right? We're research one institution. We have lots of cultural diversity, diversity of interest, and it's something else to kind of put in your basket, like you're maybe thinking about employment or a job in particular, or going on to graduate work or whatever it may be. Applying for a Fulbright doesn't cost you anything. So you're not going to get one if you don't apply. It doesn't cost anything to apply and it's fully funded. So it's something potentially that you could get. You would find out sometime during the spring of 2027 if you get the grant. And then we cross that bridge when we get there. We've had students in Romania, in Colombia, lots of students in Taiwan and South Korea. I currently have one ETA in South Korea and I have an ETA in Germany this current academic year. And I have three semifinalists for Fulbright for AY26, two ETAs, one for Kosovo, one for Korea, and a study research grant, a PhD student to Italy, which is really exciting as well. So you may be thinking, I don't want to be a teacher. I have no interest in teaching English abroad or being in a classroom. Well, maybe you should think about it a little bit because Fulbright is a very, very prestigious award. It travels with you as you grow, right? Professionally, intellectually, and it gives you an opportunity to kind of spread your wings a little bit and think like, this isn't what I want to do. I want to be an FSO, or I want to work, sorry, for an international organization, or I want to, work in government or do whatever. Having these skills can really set you apart from other people. So I've had students that have wanted to be foreign service officers and like from the get-go of college, like that's what they were working towards. And one student in particular got an ETA to Taiwan, went to teach in an elementary classroom and kind of changed her ideas about like what she wanted to do long term because it can do that too. And it's good to kind of like feel your way through, different environments. ETAs are typically the grants that bachelor's awarded students apply for, but that doesn't prevent you from applying for research. If you are a researcher, if you have a proposal that you want to take abroad, that's all well and good. We can talk with your faculty and your, advisors, et cetera, to really kind of hone in on that abstract. Or you may be thinking, I really want to go to Finland for a master's degree, or um, Mexico or Spain or the UK or wherever. There are tons of master's degrees as well. So to sum up really quick, here's the website. And of course, I'll send information to Christina with all my contact stuff so you can all, reach out and make an appointment. But if you go on the homepage, there's an interactive map, which is really cool. You click on any region. You also can do it here, like say you're interested in East Asia Pacific. These are all the countries that are giving awards that were for the last cycle of AY26. They don't usually change too much, but if you click on one of them, you can see they had 7 open awards last year, the Philippines. If you click on that, it gives you a complete summary of what it's like to apply, what it's like to live in the Philippines, et cetera. So my ETA, who is now one of our colleagues actually in our office, she got an ETA to Romania. She specifically applied to Romania as she was a grad student. And she specifically applied to that country because in the country summary, it told applicants that placement would be in college level, teaching in a college level class. She had experience teaching in other, age groups, and she really wanted college level teaching. So that's why she applied there. South Korea is varied. Some people apply and say, like, I want to live in a remote area. Oh, we had one of our students that we share went to Indonesia. I should have started with that one. And didn't care where she was placed. She wrote that in her application. I just want to have a really cool experience. So she was in a very, very remote area of Indonesia. And made it through even when there was an issue with funding because it is a State Department program. So funding is kind of going like this right now with our current administration. Right now, it seems to be okay and stable. I mean, that could go for anything, but I'm kept in the loop all the time about the funding. So if you're a junior or senior, please do reach out to me to talk a little bit about Fulbright. Go on the website, do some kind of looking around to see if there's something you may be interested in. And I'm happy to talk with any of you, about those interests. Very quickly, the flyer that you have is for another scholarship that I manage called the Critical Language Scholarship. This is open to freshmen through PhD students. So you can apply multiple times if you don't get it your first try. It's a language immersion course, a language acquisition scholarship where you pick one of the languages that is deemed critical by the State Department and you apply to go to that country. This will be for summer 27 and learn basic skills in that language. I had a student last summer in Tanzania. I had a student in Japan. I've had a student in Azerbaijan because they applied for Turkish, but you couldn't go to Turkey at the time. So they change a lot too. But it's really cool, because you get you get paid and it's funded just like Fulbright. There's no out-of-pocket expense for any of the grants that I manage because they're external they're federally funded. Another one is the Boren, and that's with the Department of Defense, which is now the Department of War, I guess. Boren, there's a federal service requirement. So if you are interested in working for the federal government, Boren is another language acquisition program, which is great because then you get to work for the federal government. There's a service requirement, you get put on a job availability list, kind of like higher up. And that goes for like critical language too, which is in the summer. They all give you more opportunity and they help you with job placement because you're kind of like under the umbrella. If you're not interested in working for the federal government in the near future or long term, CLS and Fulbright, there's no requirement that you have to work for them, give money back, like nothing. Boren is the one where if you're, want a long standing career with the federal government, then you'd apply for that. So that's just kind of like a snapshot of a few of them that I manage. And it's a lot of information. So I hope that you'll look at the websites, consider, where you might want to go. My student last summer in Tanzania, she was learning Swahili. She loved it. She's already intermediate. She was studying the language before. She's a PhD student in School of Public Health. And she's applying for Boren now for the same language, which is really great. But while she was there, she stayed with a host family. So it gives you a whole nother kind of outlook on learning about other people and kind of, just diversifying your knowledge base. And I think it's a really cool thing to do. So just to add more things for you to think about, because I'm sure you get so many emails and so much stuff that you have to do here as students, and I know that. But thinking about these external opportunities is something that I hope you do consider, because I have students getting them left and right, which is really nice, and it's life-changing. It really is. Are there any questions? I know it's a ton of information.
Oh, yes.
Oh, sorry.
That's right. So she's on to Jacqueline.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay.
I'm sorry, I didn't notice.
No, it's okay.
Yeah, go ahead with your question.
Just seeing where she is. Lex, if you still have a question, feel free to unmute yourself.
Yeah, sorry, I had a lot of questions actually.
That's
Um,
okay.
so my first one is, I know you said the master's program. I do actually want to be a teacher. So how would that work? I know here because I'm also thinking about applying to the +1 program here. And so if I go abroad usually to get a master's, it's like 2 years extra. Is it that same 2 years or like how long is a Fulbright program usually?
So typically it's for an academic year. So it would be fall 27 and spring 28. Excuse me. If you are already in your master's program, it's okay. If you get a Fulbright, you can take a leave of absence for that year. Our colleague that did the ETA in Romania, she was a master's student. When she got it, she took a year. We work with the department. We've had 2 Boren fellows in Rockefeller where I just worked with the dean and we got them leave of absence, and they came right back and picked up their studies. They didn't get like withdrawn from the university or anything like that.
So it's not a paid master's program, is what I'm hearing. You said that we could get our master's while we're doing the Fulbright program. So how does that work?
Oh, yes, yes, yes. So you can only apply for one grant for Fulbright, which is tricky, right? Because you have to determine like what country, what grant, and it's hard. And that's why you take time to kind of look at them all. You can apply for a funded master's degree. There are a lot of master's degrees that are open. They are very competitive, yes, but I'll show you the most competitive is the UK because they tend to be very, very popular. All of these colleges in the UK offer one award for a funded master's degree. Very interesting, but if you go down to the statistics and you want to, if your goal is to get a Fulbright and get that funding for a master's and you don't really care where you're going, then you can look at undersubscribed countries. You can click off ETA potentially, and then you go to, let's say, Finland, all of these graduate awards were available for this current cycle. And then you will see here a snapshot of how many people applied and how many grants were given. So if I can move this thing, oh, there we go. So you see here, the Fulbright Lute University Graduate Award, they had 14 applications in the 25 cycle, and they gave out 6 awards. So you kind of have to like balance these. If you like statistics, you could do a whole like Excel spreadsheet with all of this. But there are lots of countries that are undersubscribed, like East Timor and a lot of countries out in the South Pacific. They're getting like 2 or 3 applicants. So if your goal is to just get a Fulbright and get abroad for a year and get that prestige and that knowledge base, apply for an undersubscribed country, do an ETA. They're less competitive than the masters in the open study research. But I also want to say, I'm not trying to diminish your interest in getting a master's degree or performing research, because that might be what you really want to do. And I think that's wonderful. And then we work together on the application. So yeah, if I didn't say that, I'm the advisor for UAlbany for Fulbright. So I would work with you throughout the whole application process. I have an amazing faculty committee that you'll meet with a few weeks before submission to kind of go over everything. They're amazing. And then once you submit, we just wait. That's all you can do is wait.
So
CLS is
under what again would I look at the master's programs?
so I can't give you a specific country to look for which ones are offering master's programs. So if you're on the Fulbright website, go to countries, you'll drop down. You can click on any of them, right? Here's Western Hemisphere. You see a country you're interested in, you click on it. Brazil, they have no master's degrees. They have 30 research awards.
I see.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you go and you look at Taiwan, they have 150 ETAs awarded, but they also get like 300, 400 applicants.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they're very competitive. But you can see here they have master's degrees. They don't give out many, but there are a few that have 2. So if any of these resonate with you, or it's like, oh, wow, I really want to do that, like international communication studies or the NTU Award in Biodiversity, which is a partner of ours. There's really cool things to look at. And once you click on it, you can see kind of when it starts. It's a little bit different in East Asia Pacific because of the education timeline. So it's a little bit different. This is September, but it'll give you a full description of the award, the grant length, the period. It'll do a profile, what's it like to live there, eligibility, like everything is in here. Everything that you need to know. It's a lot. It's a lot of stuff to go through, but I think if you are going to apply for a master's degree, you want to look at the stipend amounts, the stipends for how much they're going to pay for that master's degree. Some of them are a little sneaky. Fulbright will only pay for the first year, and it's a 2-year master's. So that could be a problem. But if you're looking for a 1-year master's, there's so many of them internationally. The majority of them are 1 year. And then it kind of gives you like a little bit of a, idea of what your monthly stipend amount will be as well, like to live on. And that's obviously relative to the cost of living in the country. So like my ETA is in Germany, he's getting quite a lot because it's really expensive for him to live in Berlin. My ETA that was in Indonesia didn't get too much because it wasn't that much for her to live there because of the cost of living. So yeah. Any other questions?
And you can only apply for one award during one cycle, right?
You can only apply for one award per cycle. Yes. Was there somebody else?
Chat. Yeah, if you just click right here.
Oh, perfect.
And then, okay, that's okay, Ben. No worries. Let's see.
No, he's
And
done.
from-
I'm throwing him out.
Then from Degina, do you know any similar programs that accept international students?
Fulbright does operate in most countries internationally. So if Fulbright is something that you're interested in, I would definitely check with your home university for sure.
Thanks, Jacqueline. Yeah, any questions from the class though, both in person and on Zoom for Jacqueline?
Yeah.
So do you have to be a student while you're leading?
No. So it's tricky for grad students and PhD students because usually you're in program, right? And then you get the Fulbright, you take a leave of absence to do the Fulbright, and then you come back to your program. Bachelor's awarded students, you have to have a minimum of a bachelor's degree. So you don't actually do a Fulbright while you're an undergraduate. You have to have your bachelor's degree before the grant starts. So in the case of the cycle that's opening in end of this month, you have to have your bachelor's by fall 27. So if you're a current junior or senior, you can apply for this. And I can go over it with people individually too, because it can be a little confusing. And also alum. I work with lots of alum that apply for Fulbright, like 5 years out. Sometimes they'll come back, be like, you know what, I think I'm ready to apply for Fulbright. So I just had a meeting this morning with a PhD candidate in cultural anthropology that's interested. That's what she is. Yeah, so it's really cool. It's really fun. Yeah. Yeah, you have to be a US citizen to apply for all of the grants that I manage because they're all federally funded. And it pains me sometimes to say that because I work with our international exchange students here on campus, but they're federally funded. Yeah.
And I asked a Turkish Fulbright situation.
Yeah, there's a commission there.
Student.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you here on a Fulbright? Are you here on a
No.
Fulbright? Okay. Yeah. Wow, because we do have some international students here that are our Fulbrighters from their country. They come here to study. It might be a little different.
They say that you're already studying in the United States.
Okay.
Yes. Maybe
Sorry. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Exactly. Yeah. Sorry about that. Yeah. Any other questions?
Other questions for Jacqueline?
All right. Well, thank you guys so much. I know it was a ton of information, but I appreciate your kindness.
Thank you so much.
Thank
I really
you so much,
appreciate it.
Christina.
I appreciate the time and for coming to the class too.
Yeah.
And I'll definitely share your information.
Yeah, I thought you were gonna say you're gonna share the recording. Like, don't.
I won't share with
Anybody.
No, I'm like this same. So I
And
don't
John
know.
loves it. No.
See,
She always asks me, I'm like, no.
But yes,
So,
so now, here, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll send it over to my.
That's
colleague.
okay, just so that I can see the chat,
Oh,
because I
yeah.
don't have to pull up a website.
Okay.
Yeah. I wanted to add to share with international students too that we have been making an effort and kind of tackling like one region at a time. I don't think much is up on the website, and our website is also going through like never ending updates, but we've been trying to show, especially in different countries around the world, whether it's ministries of education, banks, there's all types of donors. Like in Latin America, Santander is huge for scholarships, but trying to point students to that because it's not supposed to be a case of no, there's nothing, but just, of course, as Jacqueline says, these are federally funded. So it's based, I guess, on us paying taxes. It makes you feel better. I can't do a Fulbright either. So, so all right. Okay. So my name is Annette Ritchie, and I'm the Director of Global Learning here at the university. And Jacqueline and I are colleagues. And I'm going to talk to you about a couple opportunities, one in a bit more detail than others. I have a little table for most of you. I'm sorry that I didn't bring enough. I will email them. I'm at the university, I'm like our internationalization at home person, but also kind of like if you think of comprehensive internationalization, so kind of global learning for more of us, right? So like not just study abroad. And I focus on global career readiness and internationalizing the curriculum. So also working with faculty, not just undergraduate students, and inclusive excellence, so that we're all striving to be excellent in our own way. So the couple programs that I have to talk to you about, everyone has to fulfill the same requirements, but they do them in their own way that makes sense for them, right? For their goals and for their futures. So I was really curious to hear from some of you. I know we don't have a lot of time, but like what you're interning in. I used to be like the university's international internship person. And so I'm just curious, does anybody want to share how your internship's going, what you're doing? Yeah. Including online. Anybody want to share? Like I was just saying before, I've got a couple advisees on semester in Washington right now, and they're doing completely different things from one another. I have a lot of advisees who intern locally. Go ahead, sorry. Okay. Department of Labor, labor standards. Very good. Awesome. I'm just telling them, sorry. Bye, Jack. Yeah. Oh, very cool. Workforce development. Okay. There's a lot of work in that right now too with like micro credentials. Yeah. Okay. Other people, anybody doing health, or are you all like in Rockefeller College or yeah? Oh, health lobbying. Okay. Awesome. Yeah. Oh, criminal justice services. Okay, cool. Yeah, try. Okay. So it's like public policy, but health related. Okay. So you can't, so you're like working during the day and then you can come and do this class. Okay. Okay, cool. I got a couple of advisees as well who are doing assembly this semester, and they're international students and they're getting paid. And I'm very excited. Sorry. But I got to see them last Tuesday night because we had a social at 6:30 and it was just like, yes. So I like it. I like it when you get paid as opposed to you paying. Sorry. Yes. All right. So, okay. So Jacqueline asked you about Fulbright, right? If you are familiar with it. Is anybody familiar with the Peace Corps? Have you heard of the Peace Corps? Yeah. Okay. So actually last week was Peace Corps Week. So every year on its birthday, there's like we celebrate Peace Corps Week. So this year Peace Corps turned 65. So she's a senior. That's what I said. So Peace Corps was founded by an act of Congress when John F. Kennedy was the president. And it served many purposes, but it was kind of like a call to give young people in the US something to do, kind of the same as under Franklin Delano Roosevelt, when you saw all the beautiful work that happened in the national parks, right? This kind of like, make work projects. So that was part of it, but also because the US was experiencing the Cold War with Russia and other countries and had a very bad rap and was not trusted. And so this was started as like a friendship program. So from the US point of view, it was like, let us try to show people, who the US can be or also is, right? So anyhow, we won't go into.
That's great.
Oh.
To share, she said she's interning at University Police Department.
Oh, thank you. UPD. Okay, so you can do it on campus too. Okay. Very cool. Thank you. Yeah, it's all very useful, all those internships. And I'm a little biased. So I'm here not to talk to you about serving in the Peace Corps. Okay. But one of my roles at the university is the Peace Corps Prep Coordinator. And so we help people to prepare if they want to become future paid volunteers in the Peace Corps, which is generally a 2-year commitment after you graduate, but you don't have to have a degree. But there's also some new like 1-year pilot programs. People can also virtually serve, right? But I'm not here at all as a recruiter. Instead, we have a certificate that's called the Peace Corps Prep Certificate That's really one that's focused on global citizenship, or even more specifically, if you maybe want to do international development work in the future. About half of the certificate is revolving around skills that relate to one of 6 work sectors in the Peace Corps that aren't random. Like if the UN had a certificate, it would look very similar. So they're pretty catch-all sectors. So it's like you live in any community, you're like, yeah, we have need for education. We got to work on our environment issues. We need food, right? Health, community economic development, doing something with our youth who aren't going to school. So that's basically the 6 sectors. So students here who are undergraduates are able to earn this certificate, this preparatory certificate that they can use for their own purposes. You don't have to apply to the Peace Corps at all. We've had 110 certificate recipients already since 2019, and including we have about 20% of our awardees are international students. And we just had a ceremony last week and gave certificates away. I think one of the coolest things about the program, second to how amazing the student participants are that everyone gets a coach, a sector coach, who's actually a returned Peace Corps volunteer. So instead of you dealing with this Canadian, you actually get someone who served in some ways that you might want to in the future. Okay, so everyone's welcome. But yeah, last week we had a social, we had like 25 students come and we connected with the larger Return Peace Corps volunteer community of Northeastern New York. Even though it was snowing, it was hardly snowing, but it was really annoying. And we had like 20 people come from the community who served in all different generations, all different parts of the world. So that's one of the benefits too. Just if you have a heart for being of service in your many communities, we all belong to many communities, then it's a nice place to connect with others. So there's that. And then I just want to mention too, I brought up a bunch of flyers, but not enough. We have opportunities that can be fit into things like Peace Corps Prep and others. Like we have an intensive English language program, and we all speak English beautifully in our own way. And we have a need for conversation partners. We also have like a Friday conversation club. You can earn like RSSW credit to be like a conversation buddy. You can go to like games with our students who come from all over the world for different periods of time. Sometimes it's half a semester, sometimes it's a whole year. Some of them are trying to get admitted at UAlbany. Some of them are even like business owners. They come for an international business school. So anyhow, if you're in a class that you hate, not this one, and you need to pick up, especially like a class for the second half of the semester, it's a lovely way to do it. And like I mentioned to you, we have like an education sector in the certificate. So that's kind of how people, I'm all about double dipping, triple dipping, right? And it's also an intercultural experience. So the certificate, like I said too, is skills, but then also that intercultural piece. So sorry, that's just one example. I brought a bunch of flyers.
So she goes to conversation.
Yay. Okay, I hope to see her soon then. I'll pop over on a Friday. She loves Conversation Club. Great. That's so nice. So Susan Gorga, who's in charge of that, is a return Peace Corps volunteer. So yeah, we're like connected. The Peace Corps mafia that isn't, okay? Doing good things. All right, we also have an international studies minor. I won't go into that. We have 2 tracks. I said I wouldn't, but I'll be very brief. We have one that students call the study abroad minor because it makes you study abroad. It's the only program at the university that makes you study abroad, okay? So I'm kind of proud to be in charge of that. And then that's called the social and cultural area studies. So that's on your chart. And the other option is international development studies. And that's for people who maybe want to work in government or in NGOs. I always say it's for people who get really mad about inequities within and among nations, and you want to do something about it. It's like international affairs, international relations. Okay, lastly, and then I'd love questions and I'll go. Okay. We have something that we're turning into a certificate, like a New York State certificate. We're not there yet, called global distinction. So for now, it's something that if you complete all the requirements, it goes on your transcript, on your official transcript. It's called a milestone, global distinction. So you graduate with global distinction. And if the certificate I talked about was about global citizenship and needs that are in the world, global distinction is much more kind of custom to you and your own global career goals. So it's like global career readiness that makes sense for your major. So there's three main requirements. One is language fluency to the intermediate level in a language that's not your first. So most international students check, right? They're already done that part. So it could be like 2 years of language at the college level, but we all learn languages differently, right? Some people grew up speaking another language. Then there's the international immersion piece, which is a full semester of study abroad and an internship in a culture that's not your own. So that could be a summer internship abroad, or it could be a virtual internship, or it could be serving locally. So I've had advisees who even get paid to work with USCRI, with RISE, and they use their language skills and they do things like put on nutrition workshops or they help people applying for benefits. So again, this is all really good preparation for your future. And then lastly, it's just a mix of globally oriented coursework. It's 3 courses, but there's hundreds to choose from. So we try to help you like through your major, your gen eds, and sometimes your electives. We can also, of course, count things from your studying abroad if you do that. But just because we find when people do try to be a global scholar, which is what we're going for, sometimes they stay a little bit too much in their own lane. So we just try and push you out a little bit because it's good for you, right? You get more comfortable by being uncomfortable, like I'm doing right now, and making you uncomfortable. All right, I am done. Any questions?
Questions for Annette?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great question. Is there funding for study abroad? So right now, Education Abroad has a small fund each semester, and there's deadlines. But when you apply to study abroad, you'll be prompted in the application, apply for the scholarship. There's also, if you're Pell Grant eligible, there's Gilman Awards. So Benjamin Gilman, and I think nowadays the funding can be up to $3,000 to help you with your study abroad. When you study abroad, your financial aid, if you have it, goes with you because you remain enrolled at UAlbany. But especially for students who maybe like live at home, or if you're a resident assistant, it's very expensive, right? The living part. So, but yeah, so there's on the Education Abroad website, you'll see there's a scholarships page, and we hope in the future we'll have more to give you. There's certainly a alumni donation fund. So right now it's March Madness, and we're certainly saying, give us money, please. Okay, that's a good question. Yeah.
Often to get credit or the credit for the conversation club?
Yes. Yes, that's so you can just volunteer or you can do it because you need credit. And so, and I brought sheets. You guys can even sign up and I can even take them to Susan if you like, or you can take a photo and email it. But the RSSW, they have different options, right? There's like 190, 290, 291, 390. So 1 credit is like 35 hours. And then 2 credits, so I think like 60 hours, and 3 credits is 100 hours. But it can also be flexible, sorry, because you could say, well, I want to actually intern with another organization, whether on or off campus. And you know how you just go in Brightspace and you'd have supervisors who sign off that you're actually doing your work. It's not a case where you have to like sign up and get an incomplete because you couldn't get enough hours. And also you could say, well, I'm interested in the educational sphere. Maybe I want to like sit in some classes, help with lesson planning. When they go to New York City, to the UN, I want to go, right? So it's whatever you'd like, but you shouldn't have to get an incomplete. You should just be like, okay, I'll do this, and I'll also work at Purple Threads if you like, okay? I'm telling you things that people actually do, not just like random thoughts I have. Okay. So, but that's a great question. Yeah. Oh, thank you. Oh, how long is Peace Corps prep? Can I join as a junior? Yes, of course. So that's an excellent question. We wish we didn't meet so many people who are graduating seniors who tell us that they never heard about Peace Corps prep. And where has this been? And then it becomes like their favorite group of people, and we know them as alumni. So you can get started anytime, freshman, sophomore, junior, senior. You just have to complete the certificate before you graduate. So it's really only 3 courses that relate to a sector, 50 hours of hands-on related to a sector, and then 3 courses or experiences that relate to intercultural exchange. And I'm an academic advisor, and we have sector coaches who actually understand how courses relate to things you actually do in the Peace Corps. So while we have standards, we're really able to work with people on what they have. And for most people, it's no additional coursework. So I hope that answers. Like junior would be plenty of time. There's no requirement to come to any of our socials. Like I know I told you how great we are, but you can just be like, thank you. I like your certificate. That's it. I have had a very few students who if they want to, they finish their certificate in their junior year because they just wanted it. Or once we had somebody who transferred out of UAlbany, and to her, it was so meaningful to be able to complete the certificate before she left because we're only like one of 150 universities who have this. So anyhow, she completed it. And then when she finished her degree elsewhere, she was able to say, oh, do you have like we call the exit checklist that shows that I finished everything. She applied to the Peace Corps. I served as one of her references. She got offered a position. So it's just like Jacqueline said with alumni, we always care about you. Okay. So hope that answers. Yeah.
No, that's great. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
That was a lot.
No. It was great. Any other questions for Annette for tonight? And Lexus, thank you. So from the class,
I'll leave all this and then I'll
Thank you.
another day. I'll pick them up.
that's completely fine. Thank you so much for your time, Annette, and we really appreciate it. I'm gonna stop this recording. Let's see. No. It was great. No, thank you so much, Annette. Have a good night. All right, let me figure out how to.